Are you hearing sirens? Do you hear that in the background? That is a message from Archangel Michael and your angelic team, giving you urgent advice right now. You may be contemplating something, trying to make some decisions, trying to set some plans in motion. But the message is to keep going, keep fighting, keep going towards what you want, keep making these things happen and believing that they can happen for you because they can. I remember when I started seeing angel number 911, and I didn't realize I was seeing it since I was in high school, since I was a child. And my experience with the 911 is really goes in tie is tied to 9/11 with the Twin Towers in New York. Around the time when the Twin Towers happened, I was a freshman in high school, and excuse me. And it was crazy because that day I had a early lab class. It was like my first class. I had to be there extra early. Excuse me. Sometimes I get cold in my eye. I hate that. And so that day I went on a train. I got there early, a little earlier. I got there like on time basically. And when I got there, it was like a big commotion. And like as soon as I got the train, it was like a big commotion. And as I was walking towards my school was like right under the Twin Towers. It was like literally right in that area on Pearl Street. And I remember thinking when I seen the buildings on fire, I was like, this is like a movie. Like it felt surreal. It felt surreal. People were panicking. But my school at the time, they ushered us into the building and just told us to just, go back to class. So we went to class, and literally 10 minutes into being in class, it was like a big boom, and it shook my whole entire school. I remember I was in the basement of my school building, and it was loud. Like it was like right there. Like it was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. And all the kids started panicking and screamed. The teachers was worried. People were just panicking, and it was just chaos. So by that time, my school had told us we needed to evacuate. And that's when I knew things was getting real, because it still didn't register, because I was like, what the... I didn't know, right? So what happened was, as I went to evacuate with everyone, it was kind of crazy because around that time, not every child had a cell phone like today. Like, you know how everyone has a cell phone and everything is just, everybody has these these devices. But back then, not every parent could afford that. I come from a family of of 7, so I was the eldest child, and not everybody was able to get a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing I had was a payphone. But at that time, Verizon was, I think, linked to the Twin Towers, and all of the payphones were out. You couldn't call anyone. It was no way for me to get in contact with my parents, and there was no trains working. So, and the trains were out for a very, very long time around there. And being that I was 14, just turned 14, and being in Manhattan, a big place, anything could have happened to me at that time. Anything could have took place, and it was very traumatic. It was a very traumatic and experience at a young age when I went through that, because I didn't know how the heck I was going to get home. I didn't know how the hell I was going to get home. At the time, I couldn't call anybody. I was literally stuck in Manhattan at 14 years old. So I was just like, what the heck to do. But you know what happened? Around that time when everything, it was like when the first tower got hit, there were a lot of sirens, a lot of law enforcement going towards the Twin Towers. It was really crazy. I never seen FBI trucks, because the FBI building was actually close by. I never seen the FBI pull out like that. It was just like crazy, right? And it was like, as soon as we kind of got out of the building, like I said, we had to walk. So like I said, I didn't know. I was just following everybody else because I didn't really know which way to walk. I just started walking. There was other kids there that were being very, you know how some kids can be. They just want to be nosy, so they walk towards the chaos. So I was not one of those kids. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't one of those kids. I was like, all right, it's time to go. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to try to walk somewhere. God, the angels, my angelic team, my ancestors, they sent me an angel that day, because I literally didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't. My teacher, Miss Karen, she was an angel for me that day. I'll never forget her. At the time, her husband was working in the Twin Towers. I still to this day don't know if he survived, because she kind of like a lot of teachers went through a lot of traumatic situations in that situation. Like there was people who had family that worked at the Twin Towers. Some of them lived in Battery Park, and if you know anything about the Twin Towers, anybody who was living around there literally couldn't go back to their home, because their home was covered with dust and even human remains. And one of my teachers was one of those people. Excuse me. One of my teachers was one of those people. One of my other teachers, she was a French teacher. And she just wasn't well, she wasn't well when the situation happened. But back to what I was saying about how I was sent an angel that day. I was protected in a situation where literally anything could have happened to me. And 9/11 has been a role in my life since childhood. And it took me to my adult years to fully, truly understand just how protected and loved, and how much, guidance I've had since my younger years. I've had a connection with the angels my whole life. When I first started with any type of religion was with Christianity, but I have kind of, evolved into a path where it's like I don't have any labels, but I do really much believe in the angels. I believe in God. I believe in these things, and I've always been a very spiritual child, especially even when I was in my religion. There were times when I was 11 years old and 11, young kid, in elementary school. I would be praying. I would have a certain time of the day where while everybody was eating their lunch, I would be praying and having some time for myself in the bathroom. I would have a whole prayer situation. I'd be reading my Bible. I was very, very devoted. Okay, I was devoted to God. I was devoted to my angels, and I used to pray to them a lot. And Archangel Michael has always showed that he was around me. There's some gooses right here coming close. I wish I could show. I'm gonna show you guys, because it's literally right here. And this is what I was talking. I had. Look at them. Say hi. See, you see them? They're like just coming closer to me as I talk. But let me sit my behind down. This is just I have found a goose feather. So it's like the goose is very much they're loyal to their little clique, and they're devoted, and they have a resilience about them, and a sense of direction. And I know there's like so much, and there's a duck as well. So it's like they all coming around right now. I'm sorry, I'm getting all over the place, but yeah. But at the time I was a child, I was very much devoted to God. This is why I feel like the connection with the angels. Anyone who's seen the number 911, it is associated with Archangel Michael. If you're hearing sirens or you're seeing this number, it's urgency. It's also a message of higher elevation and keen intuition, as well as connecting with the angelic realms. But when I go back into my story and how my teacher, Miss Karen, was the sole reason why I was safe and protected at that time. I didn't know Manhattan streets, but I did know where my father worked because he worked in Manhattan, and she walked me all the way to my father's job. Like, she walked me all the way to my father's job. I had to walk there, and it was like, I've never seen so many people walking on the streets in my life in New York. It was like no cars could go anywhere because everybody was in the streets. It was so many people, and it was like Armageddon. It literally was like that, and it was so traumatic for me. I was scared, like I didn't know. But as soon as we kind of left the building, as I didn't stick around like everybody else did, the Twin Towers fell. Okay, and it covered my entire school. And if I would have stayed down there like some of the other kids, I would have got covered by that dust. And we all know about the dust. The dust gave people cancer, and it killed them later on. The fire department, the police officers who were brave enough to go in there to help people, a lot of them aren't here with us today, you know. So it was just so much protection, like I said, over me at that time. And you know, I just wanted to share my story with 9/11, 9/11. It was really a time of protection and just resilience, you know. So that's my little tidbits on my story with 911. It's associated with me when it came down to the Twin Towers. I don't know how many people lost people. There was a lot of people that lost people, and it was so sad after the fact, man. It was just the most saddest thing that I experienced as a young child. And then now in my adult years, we're dealing with the pandemic. I'm like, what is going on? But yeah, pay attention to your intuition and pay attention to the symbols and signs of spirit. They talk to you through the elements, through the animals, little signs and tidbits and breadcrumbs to kind of help you along your path. And a lot of us who are seeing 911, we got some big plans we want to put into place. And, you know, some of us are getting discouraged. And, you know, some of us are feeling low confidence. And I'm here to tell you, you know, to have confidence in yourself, to continue going after what you go through, going after what you choose to go for yourself, because you can have it. I myself struggled with confidence my whole life. And sometimes when you have been told throughout your whole life, your family, or certain things where they just they put these imprints in you where it's like you heard these things from other people. They either made you feel stupid or they made you feel some type of way. It can follow you into the adult years, and it takes a lot of time and healing to get past these blockages. You know what I'm saying? So keep having faith, keep trusting the angels, keep trusting your guides, because they are not leading you astray. They're leading you towards your destiny. All right, guys, have a great day. I love you so much, and God bless you. Ashe. Bye-bye.